Hey guys, it's Hannah Hart's Book 6, and today I'm going to do the mid-year book freakout tag. So it is about the middle of June, which means we are about smack dab in the middle of the year. So I thought that I would do the mid-year book freakout tag. The first question is the best book you've read so far this year, or in 2018. And the best book that I've read this year is hands down Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. I read that book in like March or February, and I think about that book all the time. I just thought it was amazing. Oh my gosh, it was so good. Oh my gosh, I loved it. It was amazing, and I just thought the characters were so compelling. It was definitely a character study, and it like explored a lot of gray area, and oh my gosh, it was so good. The second question is best sequel you've read so far in 2018. And the best sequel I've read, and I think it's one of the only sequels I've read, is Fire with Fire by Jenny Han. I almost said Burn for Burn, but it's the Burn for Burn trilogy, so I wouldn't have been that wrong. But Fire with Fire was so good. I gave that book 5 stars, and I only gave the first book 4 stars, so I think that says something. But I talked about Fire with Fire in my latest wrap-up, so I will link that down below for you guys so you can hear my most recent thoughts. But oh my gosh, that series was so good. Trilogy, it was so good. And I'm so excited because my mom just went to Half Price Books the other day. She lives about 4.5 hours away from me, and she has a Half Price Books like 10 minutes from her. So jealous. But she bought me the first 2 books in the Burn for Burn trilogy, and all I have to do now is find my own copy of Ashes to Ashes. So I'm so excited to have my own collection of those books because Jenny Han is pretty much one of my favorite authors. The third question is new release that you haven't read but want to, and that would definitely have to be The Wicked Deep by Shea Earnshaw. Colin Spence really loved the atmosphere and the setting. Julie from Pages and Pens also, who is also one of my new obsessions, along with Chelsea Darling Reads. I love both of them. I love their live shows. They're great. But anyway, she really loved that book, and my hold for that book at the library is about to become available, and so I'm so excited to read that, and I just think it'll be so fun. And because they say it's like Hocus Pocus meets Practical Magic, and I love Hocus Pocus, and I haven't watched Practical Magic, so I need to get on that before I read it. But I've heard that that description does not disappoint. The fourth question is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and that would hands down have to be Vengeful by V.E. Schwab. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited, and I honestly do not know how V.E. Schwab is functioning. She wrote the whole book, and then like in January, she tossed it and rewrote the whole thing, and it's still coming out in September. Like, can we say a yes queen for her? Because she is amazing. Oh my gosh. And I read Vicious in I think February, and it was amazing. My Goodreads review literally says, oh my god, I need Vengeful right now. So that doesn't tell you how excited I am for it. I just don't know how to tell you otherwise. Fifth question is biggest disappointment, and I honestly didn't really have one for this. So the one that I chose is just a book that I thought was going to be better than it was, because this one booktuber really hyped it up, and I was like, oh, that'll be really good. And I've since found out that I think we probably don't have the same reading taste, but that is Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. Originally I gave that book 3 stars, and I said in one of my videos that that was being generous, and I since moved it down to 2 stars because nothing happened in that book until 250 pages in, and it's like a 300-page book. And then every question that you have from that book, none of it is answered. And I understand that it's supposed to be like a trilogy or a new mystery series, but for you to not answer any questions, like literally within the last like 50 pages, this girl goes missing, and that's completely tossed aside. And there's this like plot twist at the end, but still it doesn't make that much sense. And if I talk about it anymore, it will make me mad. But I just thought it was like, I don't know. I think it could have been so much better. Honestly, if it had just been set in the 30s and had that storyline, I would have loved the book, because I loved the flashbacks to the 30s with the original murders, and I think that would have been a better book. I think Stevie, I just didn't like Stevie. She was, I didn't think the book was good. I might try to read the sequel just to get some answers, but honestly, probably won't. Okay, so the next question is biggest surprise. The book that I thought I would never read is Anne of Green Gables by Ellen Montgomery. And the reason I didn't want to is because, the reason I didn't want to read that book is because it's a classic, and all of the new pretty editions are really, really long. And honestly, the book is almost 500 pages. And I was just so fearful of classic literature, and I read it only because of Katie from Life Between Words' recommendation. And I owe her endless thank yous, because Anne Shirley stole my flipping heart. She was so funny, so endearing. I literally love her so much. And then also, the end of that book made me literally cry so much. I now cannot imagine my life without having read that book. So thank you to Katie for finally pushing me to read Anne of Green Gables. I loved it even more than I ever thought I would. Next question is favorite new author, and that would hands down have to go to Celeste Ng, because Little Fires Everywhere and Everything I Never Told You were so good. I just think Celeste Ng has a way of telling a story. She makes you feel everything with these characters, and she writes such flawed but real characters, and I loved it. Love her, and I cannot wait for her to write another book. The next question is newest fictional crush, and honestly, I don't get fictional crushes that often, but the one that I chose is because I really like the person that he's paired with in the books. It is Sam Roxton from I've Got Your Number by Sophie Kinsella, but him and Poppy's relationship was so awesome. Like, her other fiance sucked so bad, and I didn't like him at all. And I was so glad when she got with Sam. Sorry to spoil the book, but she did get with him, and oh my gosh, I just loved it. I just thought he was so funny, so sweet, and great for her. Then the next question is newest favorite character. Anne Shirley, just like I expressed with Anne of Green Gables, I love Anne Shirley, and I need to read the rest of the books because she has 6 more books just themed after her life, and I am so there for it. The next question is book that made you cry. The first is The Girl Who Drank the Moon, and oh my gosh, that book, I had the weirdest reading experience with that book, but I'm so glad that I stuck it out to the end. If you know me, or if you've been watching my channel, I read the first 100 pages of that book and despised it. Like, I hated it. And then I decided to pick it up and give it another chance, and the last 237 pages or whatever, however many pages that book has, completely stole my heart. I fell in love with it and was bawling my eyes out by the end of it. It was like midnight, and I'm just like, ugh, like tears are streaming down my face to the point where I could not see the words on my Kindle, and you know that I love a book when that happens. And the last book that made me cry, I think there were a couple other books that made me cry, but this one is Far From the Tree by Robin Benway. It won the National Book Award, and I totally understand why. It's a book about adoption, and these three kids come together. Two have been adopted and one's been in the foster care system, but they're all like biological siblings. It's just such a beautiful story, and I loved every minute of it. Specifically Joaquin's storyline, just, oh my gosh, it broke my heart. It made me so like happy cry, and I just, that book's so good. And the next question is book that made you happy, and one of the books that made me happy is actually a graphic novel, and it's Lumberjanes. I flippin' love Lumberjanes. I love all the Lumberjanes, especially Jen, the camp counselor. You guys know I love her. And the next book that made me happy was I've Got Your Number by Sophie Kinsella. I'd never read a Sophie Kinsella book, if you can believe that, and I just loved it. It was hilarious. Poppy was one of the funniest main characters I've ever read about, and the footnotes in that book are literally the funniest thing, and I listened to it mostly on audiobook. She was hilarious, and her inner commentary just made me laugh so much. And there's specifically one scene where I was literally laughing out loud in my kitchen listening to it because I could not believe what was happening. The next question is favorite book to movie adaptation, and I've only seen one book to movie adaptation this year, but it's by far my favorite, obviously, and because it was just so good, and it was Love, Simon, the movie adaptation of Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda, which I read last year, and that was the cutest dang movie I think I've ever seen. Like, I was cheering. There were teenage girls squealing around me. They were so excited, and it was an amazing experience. 10 out of 10, would recommend. You see Love, Simon. It's actually out on DVD now, so you can totally go do that. The next question is favorite video you've done so far this year. And my favorite video would definitely have to be my Nevermore reading vlog. I'd never done a reading vlog before, and Spence inspired me to do one because I was binge watching his videos. And I did a reading vlog of Nevermore, a super spoilery reading vlog. So if you haven't read Nevermore, you need to read it first, and totally do. It's really fun. It's fun middle grade. But I was so excited about that video because I just put my whole personality was in that video, like all my weird facial expressions and all that. And also the author of Nevermore, Jessica Townsend, watched that video. She watched my vlog of Nevermore, and that was amazing, and she said that I made her laugh, and that was such a fangirl moment for me. I tweeted about it. I was so excited. So that would definitely have to be my favorite video I've filmed so far this year. Okay, so the next question is most beautiful book that you've bought / received this year. And the most beautiful book I bought, I'm just showing you the dust jacket because I'm actually using the book as a tripod right now, and I'm currently reading it, but it is Undead Girl Gang. It deserves a moment of silence every time I show it. I love it. I need to read The Book Thief by Marcus Zusak. I'm actually planning on buddy reading this with my mom while we're on vacation, July 1st through the 6th, 7th. So we are going to be reading this book on vacation. We have like a 14-hour drive there, so I'll probably get through a big chunk of it while I'm on the way, but this book is huge. So I'm a little scared. And also, I've heard that it's like you're gonna bawl your eyes out, so have my tissues ready. So yeah. Another book that I need to get to by the end of the year is 11/22/63 by Stephen King. I really want to read this book, and I'm borrowing it from my father-in-law right now, and he probably wants it back sometime, so I probably need to read this within the next 6 months. So that was the end of my mid-year book freakout tag. I really hope you liked this video. If you did, leave a like down below. Apparently that super helps me out when people finding my videos. And also subscribe if you liked it and you want to see more. And anyway, that's it for me. Bye guys.